Hey, fuck that shit, I'm going straight for they top. Money train Glock, no, I can't be stopped. Yeah, Atlanta bitch tryna give me that mop. Sloppy top.
Me being one of Travis Scott's biggest fans, I'm still gonna be brave enough and ask the question: has Travis Scott fell off? And to be fair, it might sound crazy to a few people, might sound like nothing to some people. There has been a discussion online whether Travis Scott has actually fallen off. Has his discography taken a hit? Because if we do look at his discography, of course, Travis Scott has a flawless catalogue. Utopia, I was very critical about that project. Some people think it's a classic, some people think it's mid. For me personally, it's a decent album. There are some generational hits on that album. Travis Scott's always been able to provide generational hits from all of his albums leading up to that, but I feel like that project may have the least in comparison to the others. So for me, it doesn't hit as hard as the others. Birds in a Trap, Sing McKnight has always been a better album for me. A lot of people think Birds isn't that good, but for me, Birds is a lot better than Utopia. Tracks like Pick Up the Phone, SDP Interlude, Beebs in the Trap, The Ends, Way Back, Coordinate. I don't care what you tell me. I feel like that's where the age gap in his audience has definitely changed, because the younger lot are obviously maybe more appreciative of his newer stuff. But those newer tracks from Utopia, even though, like I said, he's got some fire tracks on there, for me, they aren't better than what's on Birds in a Trap at all. If we were to look at his latest release though, and we can kind of discuss as to why maybe we're having this conversation, because again, I do feel like the quality has dropped a little bit. I know there are some rumors. I don't know if it is factual, because I think this specific person has been credited on like 1 or 2 tracks from Jackboys 2. But if we look at this specific album here, I think this is where the discussions have obviously popped up. This is why a lot of people online are having conversations whether Travis Scott has fallen off. But this album is definitely crucial for this conversation. Jackboys 2. The original Jackboys 1 was fire, and I think it kind of put a lot of pressure going into Jackboys 2. But the thing is, Jackboys 1 was only 7 tracks, and it dropped in 2019, where you could argue trap music was still at the peakest of the peakest of the peakest in terms of artists just delivering heat. You had Lil Baby on this album, for example. I know it might have been the Highest in the Room remix, but Lil Baby was in GOAT form at that stage. Everybody thought he was the next Lil Wayne. You've also got a Quavo and Offset who were firing still at the time. He introduced us to Don Toliver around those times, and Don Toliver, I'm not gonna lie, he's one of the only artists that are probably the most consistent from that album till this day right now. R.I.P. Pop Smoke, that track was fire. But again, there was only 7 tracks on this project, so by the time we're in 2025 and Travis Scott has been hyping up Jackboys 2, we're thinking that he's going to be obviously able to replicate the same sort of quality and vibe from the original Jackboys. I do believe a lot of people are slightly disappointed with this project here. It is a label album, but again, if you go off his previous label album, the original Jackboys 1, you're expecting bro to at least come with the same sort of quality. I know we've seen artists like the Migos obviously have Culture 1 and Culture 2. A lot of people felt like Culture 2 never added up in terms of quality to the first Culture. We've also seen people ruin their like album series, like Lil Wayne dropped Carter 6 this year, and that was awful. And all the other Carter albums leading up to that were amazing. So maybe I'm being critical, but for me, Jackboys 2 was a little bit messy. And again, one of the main reasons for this was because there are rumors online that Mike Dean was not actually on this album. And I did actually check on Reddit to see if it was true or not. But some people said that he was quoted on, he was credited on one of the tracks on Outside or whatever. It says here, Outside Mike Dean. But I do believe Travis Scott and Mike Dean had a bit of tension going on around the time that Jackboys 2 dropped. But I know that Mike Dean is a crucial part as to why Jackboys 2 does not sound like any of his other albums. Mike Dean was obviously involved in some of The Weeknd's latest albums, best albums, some of Kanye West's best albums, classics, involved in Travis Scott's classics, Astro World, all of those ones. So for him not to be involved in this album here, it actually showed, in my opinion, Travis Scott was a little bit, I don't know, it was a bit underwhelming just as a label project. Again, I know label projects, it's not, like, it's too easy to criticize because most label projects aren't actually that good. But when you give us Jackboys 1, you know, like, as a fan of his music and of Cactus Jack, I feel like you got to follow up with the same exact quality. And he definitely didn't do that on this project. Although there are some tracks on Jackboys too where I'm like, you know what, Travis Scott has still got it. And what we're gonna do actually is kind of weigh up what tracks from Jackboys 2 are fire. So to begin with, what tracks would I say are generational? Because again, Travis Scott is a generational artist in my opinion. Like leading up to Utopia, or maybe up to Utopia or after Utopia, people would argue that's the only where the quality slipped up. So he's always capable of giving us these 10 out of 10 tracks from each album. But for me, some of the songs that obviously stood out from Jackboys 2 would have been Dumbo. I really enjoyed that track. Contest with Sofego might sound crazy, but I really enjoyed that track. That's where Travis Scott kind of dived into the rage world alongside Sofego, and I felt like he definitely done his thing. ILMB, I really do like it, but would I say it's like a 10 out of 10 track? No, I feel like him and Jackboys could make that in their sleep. 2000, I'll go Champagne and Vacay. 2000 Excursion is alright. Would I say it's generational? Nah. I'm not gonna say it's that good. It kind of stops here. As I go down, he had the Wizard. You know what? I'm gonna put the Wizard here. That was on the, it wasn't even the deluxe. I think he just added that straight after. So if we're saying that Travis Scott has 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks that are 10 out of 10 from this album, and to be fair, the majority of people would definitely disagree. Just the fact that I've got Contest there, they'll be probably thinking that ain't a 10 out of 10 track. But I'm talking about, for me personally, it definitely is. But yeah, if we're being harsh, there's about 3 or 4 amazing songs. Take out Contest, replace it with one of your favorite records from Jackboys 2. We'd probably have 4 or 5. That's my point. There's not really that many great songs, even though it's a label project. I felt like he lost like his creative direction for this album. Like when I saw the track list going into it, I was thinking, yeah, Sar Baby's on the album. He had an amazing drop. Saheem the year before. But then you're looking at it like, bro, you've got Vibes Cartel on the album. He's a, Jamaican artist. He has nothing to do with the sort of music that Travis Scott makes. And I understand reaching out to different sides of the world. However, the feature just didn't really do that at all. Leads me back to Utopia. Here we can be extremely harsh. Here is where I think it's going to get very interesting. Utopia. What are the generational tracks on Utopia? Hyena for sure. I got to go with Thank God. Now Modern Jam's fire. My eyes. We go with Fiend. I felt like Meltdown with Drizzy was just a replicated version of Sicko Mode. However, it's still a banger. I'm not going to dispute that. Fiend, yeah, I did put Fiend. A lot of people switch up on tunes that just go crazy, but that's not what I'm about to do. We're not doing that. That track's amazing, and it made the noise that it made for a particular reason. I know what else on this album is great. Do you know what? This track is super slept on. Circus Maximus, sorry, with The Weeknd and Sway Lee. Shout out Sway Lee, man. He's on all of these albums going crazy, and I don't think anybody actually pays him enough attention or gives him his flowers. Telekinesis. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It took me like a few months to actually be able to say it right, and I still don't know if I'm saying it right. Till further notice. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tracks that I would say are generational. And again, you might be thinking, oh, but there's 10 tracks, so how can you be super critical of Utopia? I don't know. I just feel like when you set the quality and go back to his previous albums, like Astroworld, for me, everything on this album is generational. I'm not saying that every album as well needs to be a 10 out of 10. I'm just, the way that Travis Scott come into the game and dropped all these classics, you kind of wanted him to carry on similar to how Ye did. Although Ye did slip up eventually, but that may be for other factors. But when you've given us Astroworld, I feel like, I don't know. I just I think it's the way that Travis Scott hypes up his projects. He's like so good at promoting the albums to the point that you think it's a masterpiece every time, even though it pretty much has been before Utopia. You look at the Astroworld track list: Stargazing, Carousel, Sicko Mode, RP Screw, Stop Trying to Be Good, No Bystander, Skeletons, Wake Up. Like almost every single track on this is 10 out of 10. I could do the same with Birds, but ultimately, what I'm saying is, guys, what went wrong for Travis Scott? Like, where did the quality slip up? Because again, you can argue with me all day you want about Utopia being a classic or not, or me being overly critical about that album, but something definitely isn't right, and I think we saw it more with Jackboys 2. But the purpose of this video was just to kind of let you know as well that I kind of saw some glimpses in the project Utopia, where I thought, I don't know, this doesn't sound as good as what Travis Scott's given me in the past. I do believe Mike Dean worked on Utopia, but Jackboys 2 for me, it weren't it. I've got to keep it real. Jackboys 2 weren't it. I do want to know how you guys also feel about my opinion in regards to what's happening with Travis Scott right now. What does the future look like for him? Because again, I know Utopia made all of the noise that it should have made. That's because Travis Scott is almost like a man said almost. He is an A-list celebrity and he's a beast within the music game. So he's always gonna receive streams, always gonna receive the nominations and things like that. But if we're being honest as actual fans, like Travis Scott fans, maybe we can sit down and actually have a discussion. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys have the same questions that I have, or am I reaching? I would definitely like to know. But has Travis Scott fallen off ultimately? I think it's too early to say. I definitely feel like the next release that comes out of his catalog definitely will determine whether he has fallen off or not. I think if he was to work with Mike Dean again, he's possibly able to make another great album. Like, there's no way that Travis wouldn't be able to make another great album. But it's interesting, and we can only really judge it until the next project comes out. So yeah, that is about it for this video, guys. Let me know how you guys feel about Travis Scott's music right about now. Will he bounce back? Has he fallen off? I'm intrigued to know how you guys feel about this. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, obviously hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video. It's your boy Nathan. I hope you have a blessed night. I'm out.